Hey everybody, good afternoon. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon. We have 29 minutes until the paper market closes. I'd like to take a real quick look at the market before everything closes, before we get into an overnight session as things start to develop for the rest of the evening in overnight futures. Before I get into any of this, I want to let you guys know it's not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, managing your own risk, doing your own research, and I'm just giving my opinion on the market. Okay, so what I'm going to do a little differently than what I usually do. I'm going to move over here into the chart, of course. So I've got the S&P 500 on here, and I want to point something out that is, it's pretty important. And I always like to have kind of a view on this market that has both bearish and bullish alternatives. I have shared my thoughts on this with the good folks over in the Insured channel on the Discord server. If you're not on the Discord, you want to make sure that you head over to BitDoctor.org because we have a lot of educational content. We are changing a lot of things and starting to do more and more webinars, which I think is going to be overall pretty helpful for everybody that's on that in that community. But what I want to point out here is really something very, very interesting. And that's the fact that we went up in 5 waves yesterday, okay? And I'm on a 30-minute. Let me go to a 5 minutes just so we can just show how almost perfect this was, okay? Because this is really, really important. From the bottom, we had a nice 1 and a 2 down here. Then we had a 3, and then we had to move for 4, and then we go up for 5. Okay, and inside of each one of these waves, as per Elliott wave theory, we should be able to subdivide these into their waves of themselves, and we were able to see that just fine. There is an alternative here where the 3, and here let me just fix this real quick. There's an alternative where the 3 is here, and the 4 is here, and then we've got the 5 back here. If this is the case, right, so this is one alternative. If this is the case, basically what we had is we had an A as an A, B, C, or a W, X, Y here into the A, B, C into the B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a thrust down here into 5. That would finish that. That would be a good, challenger for an expanded flat. Now, if this is the case, right, and again, we can subdivide this into a smaller degree. So from down here, we've got a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, that little pullback there, and then we go up for a 5, of course, on a lesser degree. Okay, so we can make counts in 5 waves as we go up into, at least up into here, and then a nice little correction, and then from here it's another ABC, which is why kind of leaning towards this count. From here, again, a nice little A, B, C on a lesser degree into the A, and then moving up from there, a nice A, B, C up into the B. Now remember, we have CPI numbers coming out tomorrow. Okay, that's something to really pay attention to. And then moving down from up here, we've got a nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a large thrust here into wave 5, of course, on that lesser degree. Now that we've got this, and now that this looks like a completed correction, a couple things that we have to pay attention to. Hey, good afternoon, Todd. Good to see you here. This right here, which we're getting ready to butt up against. We haven't quite gotten there yet. But with that, we've got all of this that we have to pay attention to. The fact that this could be an A, B, C, working on the D, and then coming down for the E, which is all the way down here at about 4,600. And this could happen tonight/tomorrow. Now remember, CPI numbers are released at 8 in the morning tomorrow, 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. That's going to be when markets are closed. So you need to position yourself ahead of time. And right now, we've got 2 alternatives, right? So from here, from this bottom, what do we see? Well, I see a 1, I see a 2, I see a 3, A, B, C into the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this the very top for at least the short term? Guys, it could be. It could be. So, of course, we got long back here. We closed it out up here. Of course, overnight happened, right? We didn't get re-long down here, but we were able to take some scalps on some Qs on the way up. It worked out pretty well. But right now, we're kind of struggling up here. SPX is currently at 47.10, which is really pretty good, right? But tomorrow is going to be the key All right, tomorrow is going to be the key for what happens next. And right now, just based off of this little count that we've thrown together here, we've got a lot of things that are in overbought, right? The 12-hour, it's still pretty far down there, and it's actually looking pretty bullish. But with this, let's just take it from the top. Let's just take a fib pull from the top and just kind of see where we're at. And again, I do all this live. I didn't prepare this ahead of time, right? I'm putting this together as we go. So right now, we're sitting between the 50 and the 618. Do we go up to 47.17, which would be the equivalent of approximately 47.25 or so? Do we go up to 47.25 and get a rejection from there? And that is absolutely possible. Absolutely possible. It would be kind of like an overthrow here. But a rejection here at the 618, this is very, very possible that this could happen. And as we can see here from the top, it's easy to see a nice little 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the 3, and then a 4, and then we go down here for the 5. So I see 5 waves down. Although it is possible that you could count this as an A, B, C, I think it's better served as a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, A, B, C into the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this last 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and thrust down into that 5. Just like we had a thrust down into this 5 here. If this is the case, and if this is what I think it is, well, what we are in the middle of right now is, at a minimum, from up here, an A, a B, and then what comes next? We have a C that comes next, and this, of course, is going to be on a higher degree. And where is this likely going to take us? It's very possible it takes us down here to 4,500. Now, we've been talking about this for a while, and I'm going to bring it up again, because this is something that I do like to bring up. All right, so let's talk about open interest on SPY. All right, we've been talking about this for, gosh, weeks now, okay? What do we have on open interest for SPY? Let's just take a look at it. All right, so for the 21st, 55% of the 441,000 contracts were opened up bearish. This is pretty neutral, if you ask me. Based on price action from yesterday, this is pretty neutral because we had a pretty bullish day yesterday. I'm actually surprised we didn't have more calls yesterday. 44% were calls, 55% were puts. We're still sitting at 70% of the 5.06 million contracts are bearish for the 21st. So one of two things is going to happen. One, we're going to get a flush before the end of this week. Right? It's very possible we get a flush before the end of this week, and we get a flush down to 4,500, in which case I would be very, very interested in getting some, more aggressive long positions. And from down there, again, looking for the 21st, I'd be looking for a big move up next week. And that's making an assumption that we do fall from here, right? Making the assumption that we fall from this area up here, and we're talking about a pretty big zone right now because I'm talking about the 618, but it could be that we may have already hit the top. It's very possible we've already hit the top. What it really depends on is what happens overnight, and especially what happens tomorrow after CPI numbers are released. All right, so very possible that we've got a nice, from this C, right? We could be on a 1, 2, and then this is a 3 up here, and we go down for the 4 and then up for the 5. Again, this 5 could be up here. The 3 could be what we just put in, and the 4 still remains to be seen, and then we go up for that 5, right? Watch this trend line, right? This trend line is probably going to be where things are going to get rejected from, so I'll just go ahead and continue to just kind of drag that out. So again, right here at this level, which let me move my tools out of the way. This is going to be at about 2,200 hours tonight, right? So this overnight, maybe we do get that push up, which we tend to do, right? It happened right here. We pushed up overnight. This was at 4 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. Everybody was asleep. We had a push up overnight, and then we had a sell off, right? Very possible that we just kind of move sideways for the rest of the evening. We get a push up overnight, and then we get that rejection, and it starts this trickle downward for the rest of the week. It's very, very possible that that happens. Okay, so best case scenario, we just keep going up. Mid-range scenario in my mind is we have an ABC. Absolute worst case scenario, this is a 1, 2. If this is a 1, 2, this, guys, would be the place where you would be wanting to short. I don't know necessarily with enough confidence that this is a 1, 2 to say that I'm extremely bearish and we're going to start moving down hard from here. I don't think that's the case. But from up here, this is a decent place to be attempting some kind of a short-term short position, because the wave structure, it looks good. The wave structure looks good. It looks like we went up in 5 waves. We ascended in 5 waves. We had a sideways correction here, which could be the A, and then an ABC up here into the B, and then a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here into the C. This is great for an expanded flat. From there, 1, 2. Then the bigger question is this the 3 or was this the 3? One way or another, I think we're going to see a little bit of a rejection. The S&P currently sitting at 47.06 as the futures is at 46.97. I would expect there to be some resistance here, which is why we took a specific position in the insured room as a hedge into tomorrow, just in case we do see a sell-off when CPI numbers are released, because when they're released, you're not going to be able to take action on any positions that you're in. So it's important for you to get a good hedge position in case the market does turn against you, which is something that happens all the time to people. Okay, so that's my thought on the S&P 500. Let's take a look at Nasdaq. Okay, so for Nasdaq, again, very, very similar, almost the exact same structure. So I'm not going to, really get into it too much. I'm just going to put the normal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then from there, again, we already talked a little bit about the ABC structure. So again, A, ABC, B, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into the C, right? Again, this is, of course, going to be on a smaller degree. From there, what do we have? We look like we are creating that 5-wave structure up, okay? So from here, a nice 1, a deep 2, a 3, a 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, I think we are going to make a little bit of a higher high here in the near term. We have a very similar trend line in Nasdaq that we do in the S&P. So again, a nice little move up a little bit higher. It looks like that's probably what's going to happen. All right, so let's just measure this from the top to the bottom. We get our retracement, and that puts us right up here at the 50. Okay, so for the S&P, we've retraced up to the 618. For Nasdaq, we've really only come up to the 50 so far. Nasdaq has exceeded beyond, the S&P has exceeded beyond the 50. It's between the 50 and the 618. Nasdaq hasn't even made it to the 50 yet. That's showing signs of weakness. Unless, of course, we can get a big push up, in which case our calls, our long positions, are going to be doing fantastic. If it rolls over, well, then our hedge position is going to by far offset the losses that we would incur in our long positions. That's the reason why you have a hedge, because we've got a big event coming tomorrow, and a lot of people are expecting a specific thing, and more than likely it's going to be the opposite of what people expect. I actually believe that CPI numbers are going to be moving downwards instead of upwards. I think inflation is actually starting to pull back a little bit. So with that, again, the structure here looks very corrective so far, unless we can see, again, we need that big thrust up. We need to get through the 618. For Nasdaq, we really need to get through the 50 first. If we can get through 15,888, that opens up room to 16,067. But if we can't get through there, well, then again, that target to the downside, Nasdaq is going to go probably sub 15K. It's very, very possible. Again, it's going to take time, but more than likely, if we do get a pullback from here, it's going to happen very quickly, and a lot of people aren't going to be able to take advantage of it. And if we get a big gap down tomorrow, well, then I think we're actually going to be kind of rebounding. I think that's going to be a bounce, because we're going to get a gap down, and then what's going to happen? Everybody's going to be like, oh, I'm going to go in on short. Guys, you know what? You had the opportunity to do that yesterday when we had a gap down, and look what happened. You got your faces ripped off, right? At the open, gap down, yeah, it went down a little bit, but then what ended up happening is we just raged upward. And it's very, very possible if that happens tomorrow, if we get a gap down tomorrow and we open up somewhere down here in 378 to 380, it's going to push up more than likely, because that's exactly what happened here. People get over aggressive in shorts and then they get their faces ripped off. And that's what we're trying to hedge against. If we do get that gap down tomorrow, we're going to be prepared for it. Okay, Bitcoin. Everybody wants to know what's going on with Bitcoin. So let's take a look at Bitcoin versus Tether here. We did make an attempt at 43,000 on a short. I got my short position at like 42,950 or something like that. I ended up getting stopped out on that, basically in no profit. Moved my stop loss. We discussed that on the Discord. But from here, it's really hard to get a good count on this. People are like, it's a 1-2-1-2. I don't think so. I think we're in the middle of a 1-2-3-4-5. I think more than likely, and the reason why we took the short, you're going to see here in just a moment. We had a little bit of an overthrow here, so it's possible that this 5 could be in, right? This 5 could be in right here. It looks to me like we did have a little bit of a leading diagonal. Basically, the reason why I say this is a leading diagonal, let me just zoom out real quick here and just show you really quick. It looks like we had an A, B, C, 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 right? So we basically have a 3-3-3-3-3 in this 5-wave structure up. The only one that's kind of sketchy is this wave 2. All of the rest, you can get ABCs all day long, and this wave C, a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? I'm not going to go down to a 1 minute and 30-second chart to try and dig really deep into this, but it looks to me like this is ABC. This one's kind of iffy, a little sketchy, right? But from here, ABC, ABC, ABC. I guess that would be more like a WXY. But one way or another, you have 3 waves up, 3 waves down, and then ABC 3 waves up. So this looks to me like a leading diagonal, which is very bullish, mind you. Let's just take a look at the indicator, because that's also what's really, really important. The indicator is really, really important. What does the indicator tell us right now? Well, the indicator says that the weekly is oversold. The daily is pretty far down there. I guess that's the 12-hour, not the daily, because it's crypto. The red wave is the 12-hour in crypto. So we've got the 12-hour down and oversold. We've got the weekly down and oversold, but the weekly is still pushing down. So if we get this pullback, we have to find some base here above 40,000. But honestly, I tend to believe that we are probably going to go down to maybe 37 or 38. The path hasn't been really paved really well on how we get there. Because, guys, it is very, very possible that we do see a bottom where Bitcoin has currently hit. The other alternative is we've actually potentially got a candidate for this. This would be very, very bearish. This would be our case. Let me just kind of remove this, remove this, remove this. Okay. If this is the case, what we are potentially experiencing right now is an A, B, C, D, excuse me, and then the E. And that would take us lower. Again, I'm looking for a move to 39, 38, 37,000. If this is the case, this is what would get us there. If we were to get that rejection, we get that push down. Well, one, I would be sad because I got stopped out on my short position that I had. But this is something we have to pay attention to. We have to acknowledge the fact that we could be in the middle after this thrust down here, which could have been the bottom of a larger, larger wave 3, A, B, C, D, E into the wave 4, and then we go down for the wave 5. So this is something that I have my eyes on, keeping my eyes out and peeled. I'm looking for a move down to 39, 38, 37,000 to really get a little bit deeper in crypto on spot positions. But this is what would get us there. Now, of course, the bulls want to see a leading diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we get that little bit of a pullback down here to about 41,000. And then we go up even higher. We thrust up from there. We're just going to have to wait and see. Of course, we've got both scenarios that are sitting here in front of us. We've got positioning that kind of, we're able to handle that in both directions, whichever way it goes. My bias from right here, honestly, is that we're probably going to see a downward thrust here in the overnight hours. And I think that's probably going to find its way into equities as well. I was just discussing that with you guys. I think it's very possible. Let's look at the indicators here on the hourly. What do we have? Well, we've got the 3-hour that's in overbought conditions. We've got the weekly that's up and overbought as well. But the weekly is still heading upward, to be fair. And actually, it looks like the S&P is starting to pull back a little bit. It's kind of doing a retest of 4,700. And I'm talking about SPX. I'm not talking about the futures. You can see the futures are at 46.9475. But we're starting to potentially get some bearish divergence here. And again, we have a high here, we have a higher high, but then what does the indicator show? The indicator shows we've got a high here, and we're in the process of creating a lower high. This could be seen as bearish. this could be the wave 5 instead of the wave 3. But if we were to come down 3, 4, 5, I'm still looking for a rejection up there at about 47.17. If it gets up there, that would be at the 618. All right, guys. I am going to go ahead and end it right here. If you guys need access to the Discord, BitDoctor.org gets you all the information that you need for all the different membership levels, from free to paid membership, for education, for trade ideas, and then, of course, our advanced strategies for spreads and futures in the Plus room, where we were able to capture a nice, cool 350% on a trade just today. So, guys, thanks for being here. If this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, you know the deal. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And of course, wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night, and a good evening. Take care, everyone.